Hello? Is this thing on? Hello? Hello? Hey, that one works.
Second one.
How's everybody doing today? Alright, are you guys ready for some Q&A?
Yeah!
Alright, well, real quick, a few announcements.
Dead.
Alright, a few quick announcements. We are going to have Nolan come out here and we are going to ask him some questions. We want to keep them family friendly because it's a family environment, and also we don't want to ask him for like any selfies or videos or anything weird like that because he'll be here. You can meet him later in autograph photo sessions, stuff like that. But that's pretty much it for the announcements. You guys ready to get started? Well, then without any further ado, please give a loud round of applause for Nolan North!
Left the building.
I saw the rant and I had to do it.
All right.
Hopefully both of these microphones work.
I would prefer whatever you like. You can do whatever you like. Sit.
Deadpool.
Is this on? Hold on, there it is.
Oh, there it is.
You think I know how to use a mic by now?
Well, welcome to Tampa, Nolan.
Thank you. Thank you. Good to be anywhere.
How are you feeling? You having a good weekend so far?
I'm feeling very humid. Very hot.
Yeah, that's Tampa, Florida in general. Anything you wanna, anything cool you're working on right now?
I could tell you, but I'd have to kill you.
Oh.
So no, nothing very cool. Just happy to be here away. My brother, my parents moved down here from New England, so I had a chance to visit family, which has been harrowing. Nothing ever changes. Why aren't you on TV? She says, you want to do my mother? You should really try to do more real acting. And thus, this is why I am who I am. No, it's been great. It's been great to see the family and come down here. And I actually grew up in the East Coast, went to college down south, so I'm used to humidity. It's just, out in California, it's a different heat. Everybody says it's a dry heat. Yeah, you see the face? That's dry. It's gross. They say, well, it's a dry heat. It's, it's always, oh, it's humid. It's so bad. But when it's a dry heat, I can't even look. It's just. I want to say every dirty word I know and then just watch and see. I'm not going to. Because I don't know, I don't need that information. No, but everybody always says, oh, when it's humid, it's really hot. But if it's 105 degrees and it's a dry heat. But it's a dry heat. And I always say, you know what else is a dry heat? An oven. You don't cook a turkey with humidity. So hot is hot.
Right, exactly.
Wow, how's that? Thank you very much, everybody. That's all my time. We're going to talk about the weather.
You did some stand-up comedy at one point, didn't you?
Poorly.
Well,
I did it for a while. Yeah, that was kind of my start, just because it was the only place they let me perform for free or for chicken fingers and beer. It's a true story. Like I was broke, and they said, "Well, if you come in and do 10 minutes stand-up, we give you a draft beer and an appetizer." And I was hungry. I remember, I think I did like other people's jokes to start, and then I thought, yeah, they're gonna call me. I better start writing some stuff. So I did. So, should we start questions?
Yeah,
I really don't have much to offer except when you prompt me. So hopefully, questions are like.
Sure. Yeah.
Why don't you pick? So you're the jury.
Okay, I'll be the jury. But I also forgot to mention that we have microphones set up over on the side. One over there and one over there, and you guys can ask your questions. Just
okay, but you in the back, scream out your question. No, not you. Yeah, right there.
How did you get into voice acting?
You think that'd be such an easy answer? I was on a TV show when I first moved to California. I was in New York doing theater, stand-up, that kind of stuff, and I moved to California. And I was on a soap opera, daytime drama, and that ran for 5 years. And when that was over, one of the guys on the show said, "Hey, you should talk to my voiceover agent. You're always entertaining us and goofing around with the voices and doing that kind of stuff. You should talk to her." And she's still my agent to this day. She actually helped me make a demo, and she listened to it, and she goes, "What are you doing on a soap opera?" I said, "Well, you think I can work?" She goes, "Yeah." And the funny thing is, then she moved to a bigger agency, which is still my agency now, CESD. And she brought just a handful of people. It was me, I remember Chris Edgerly, who's now works on The Simpsons, Fred Tatasciore, who a lot of you should know is the Hulk, and among everything else. Keith Ferguson, who was Blue on Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. He works all day. So she had a little handful of guys that she took under her wing. It's worked out. So that's how. Okay.
Awesome, thank you. Well, I guess we'll start over here.
Yeah, it's been great to say something about for the last of us too, and thank you to make my YouTube really famous.
Well, I know the YouTube thing is kind of cool because Troy Baker and I started a YouTube channel of our own now called Retro Replay, and where we sit on a couch and play old video games poorly, really bad. Matter of fact, I'm visiting here with my older brother last night. We had dinner, and he goes, "See, I've been watching it. It's a lot of fun." I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "You're really bad, though." I'm like, "Yeah, well, I haven't had time to play." He goes, "No, but you're so bad." Well, you could do much better. He goes, "Yeah." So someday we're gonna have him out. We're gonna put him on the show and test him. But thank you for that.
Nice.
And I don't know anything about Last of Us 2, except I'm looking forward to playing it. Poorly.
All right, before we start, I just want to say that there's some people behind you, so if you guys could maybe kneel or sit down on the ground if you're not asking the question, thank you so much. And go ahead.
Hi.
Hi.
So I've actually been educating my kids with gaming, and my daughter's fallen in love with Uncharted. So she wanted me to ask you, what's your experience been like working on Uncharted, and do you have any characteristics that you relate to with Nathan, or do you find yourself very separate?
No, first of all, it's been the experience of a lifetime. You know, to be able to portray that character for over 10 years, to travel the world. Sony sends me around to do so much publicity for it. Emily Rose and I were in Jordan, of all places, riding horses through the city of Petra for a publicity thing. I'm thinking, you know, I grew up in Rhode Island, you know, where most people think that's just a county in the state of New England. It's not, it's a state. Read it. It's one to grow on. But it's been amazing, and quite frankly, it's very much who I am, except for the freakish ability to climb things. The sense of humor, you know, when it started, Amy Hennig invited me to just try to put as much of myself into the character. It's my own voice, even though the voice is tired from travel and from talking yesterday, which is not a good. I don't have to work until Monday, so all day to rest. But yeah, it's very much like me, especially the sense of humor. A lot of stuff was ad-libbed, but a lot of stuff, you know, she learned my rhythms and my sense of humor, and she would write to it. And then we would always, it was one of the first jobs I ever had where we would go in and rehearse for a full day and go through the lines, and we'd be sitting at a table, you know, having your coffee, and we'd be just reading, just a read through. And then oftentimes you'd be like, "Hey, you know what, Richard, Sully, what, maybe Sully takes that line, we flip-flop that." And I don't think he'd say, you know, "Oh shit," he'd say, "Oh crap." Yeah, I'm making some crap. And "oh crap" is big. That was never written. It's like I used to just, you know, get in trouble or something like, "oh crap." So that's a, you know, people have me sign that sometimes. I'm like, yeah, I've said that since I was 7, 9. Yeah. So yeah, it's very much me.
Thank you so much.
You bet.
Thank you. How about over here?
Okay. Last time we met in 2015, I told you about the college paper I wrote on Spec Ops Line, which was
okay. Yeah.
But my question today is, well, a lot of time voice actors are billed as John Doe, the voice of X, but you're often billed as Nolan North, the Nolan North. How do you think that came to be?
I think when I answered the first question today to you, when when I started getting into voiceover from I still do on camera stuff, but it's just so much more rewarding lately. I get better roles in motion capture, gaming, animation, and it's just, for me personally, lately it's been fun, more fun. So when I started though, everybody wanted to get into animation. They wanted to be on a cartoon series. That's the goal. And games were just Soldier 2, grenade, get down, frag out, this way, doing those things. And I had 2 little boys. That's the other, I told you how I got started, but the reason I started, I needed to pay bills for two little boys I had, my wife. So they would say, hey, I think the scale rate at the time was around $700, $759, I think. They were like, hey, do you want to just yell soldier stuff for $759? Yes. If somebody said there's an envelope across town, just need you to yell for a few hours, and we got 750, yes. If they had said we got 500, I'm like, yeah. So it was just need-based, and I think I really liked it. I enjoyed it, and I embraced it. And I think that helped me do a little bit better work than I normally may have. And then I became, oh yeah, no, he's good. And I always prided myself on being the guy who we're gonna have a good time at that session. We're gonna laugh. We're gonna tell some jokes. We're gonna get a little off color. I work blue. And everybody works with me. I mean, there's got to be tapes that would put me in jail somewhere. So I have to pay off those engineers. So I think I just embraced it a lot, and I just kept getting rehired. And it's like any job. If people you want to work with your friends. If you're a plumber and you do a great job, you're going to get hired again. Good chance. And they're going to talk, and somebody's going to say, hey, you have a problem with your sink. Call him. And I think early on, I always approached it as any kind of contractor work. I'm an independent contractor. And I also can fix toilets. So a change is broken in our toilet. And I fixed it. But the thing is, what you gotta do is you gotta turn the water all the way off, flush it. You wanna make sure the stopper has a good seal. You don't wanna have too much chain, the handle jiggles. All right. That's why. So I think it's just because I embraced what I was doing, and a lot of people, they just kept rehiring me. And I can't tell you why, but I'm glad they did.
It's because you know how to fix clothes.
I do. Unless there's a real problem, like you have a crack in the seat at the bottom.
First of all, good morning.
Good morning.
So with technology, as far as like mocap, especially physical characters like Nathan Drake, where you have the ability to show emotion through the face, were there any obstacles that you faced when you were doing the voice of Ghost, where you didn't really have that extra ability to put that emotion, with the other?
Well, yeah, it's a good question. First of all, Ghost doesn't have a face, so that's and he was at the beginning of when I started doing Destiny, he wasn't supposed to have too much emotion, and they've slowly started incorporating it more and more, kind of like AI will learn over time. Like he may not really feel that emotion, but he knows how to express it at that time. Ones and zeros kind of thing. And it has made it a little more interesting as we've been able to pepper that in. The latest one is a real revenge mission, and Ghost gets a little darker, and it was cool that they were able to do that. The motion capture stuff is I came from a theater and on-camera background, so I don't treat it any different. And people often ask me, what's the big differences? Aside from the actual physical things you work with, my job is to deliver a performance, whether it's a live audience or a camera or a microphone. I just play. I mean, the best actors are kids. They don't get caught up in where's my focus, what's my backstory. It's like read the script, know the story, and know that no one performance, determines how that story is told. It's a collaboration, and it's a team sport. And I grew up playing sports, and I went to college for baseball. That's what I wanted to do. And you know, even though I was the pitcher, but I can't get everybody out. I can't strike everybody out. Matter of fact, you don't want to strike everybody out. If I could throw 3 pitches an inning, everybody swings at the first one, 1, 2, 3. 3 ground balls, let that shortstop pick it up. Let the center fielder catch a fly ball. 3 pitches, I'm out. That'd be glorious. 27 pitches in the game for baseball fans. That'd be really good. But no, but the truth is, it's just, that's how I always approached it. So bringing Post to life was just, you know, great scripts, great story, and really depending on, like with Destiny in particular, great directors and producers who are on the line talking to you. The director's there, giving me context of the situation, helps you kind of build that picture in your head and deliver the performance. It's pretty much that. It's not rocket science.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Over here.
Hi.
Hi. I'll try to make my answers a little briefer so everybody can pick. I want to run out of people. I get chatty.
I was wondering,
Is chatty something chatty?
what's your favorite thing Nathan Drake has said in all the games? Because he has a lot of like funny like quotes and one-liners.
Forgive parents, forgive me, but sitting with Richard McGonigal, I think it was 3, and he said the line he's supposed to be, "Oh, it's hot." I'm like, "Come on, we got to keep moving." That was on the page. Anyway, he's like, "God damn, Nate, it's hot." I'm like, "Sully, we got to keep moving." Okay, that was the. And instead, McGonigal goes, "It's hot. I'm sweating like a hooker in church." He just made it up, and I just went, and I started laughing, and just out of nowhere, I went, "You brought a hooker to church?" And he looked at me, "Why not?" And it was just, and Amy and I was like, "Yeah, that's Nate." So that was because it was. Because Richard's such a pro, and he would always be just, you know, he'd get the most out of his line, and then just every now and then he would just lay me out with some ad-lib that you're like, wow, that's great. And that was certainly one of them.
Thank you.
You bet. Thank you.
So what I wanted to ask was, what were some of your favorite moments recording for Desmond in the Assassin's Creed series?
I don't remember, it was so long ago, and they killed me. I like these, what I do remember, there were 2, anything with the, I can't remember the character's name, but the British guy was like really Sean, right. So we would have a little back and forths. And the other one that I remember is they actually had, very often with games, you record alone. And for whatever reason, they had Kristen Bell and I record together a bunch of those scenes, Lucy and Desmond. And I remember she was a big fan of, we talked Family Guy. And her favorite guy was Herbert. So the whole time in between, we're like, I'm gonna get your apple now. And she would do it too. And she was really good at it. So I haven't seen Kristen Bell since, and she might not even remember me, but that was so much fun because she was just so funny. Okay. She's a cool person. So that was that stuff with Lucy. I think it was 2. It was before we. It was the one where. And by the way, we didn't even record a scene. We didn't voice a scene where Desmond kills her. I don't know how that happened. Like people are like, I can't believe you killed Lucy. I'm like, no, we just had a session with Lucy. It was great. You killed her.
All right, thank you.
You bet. Thanks.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's almost afternoon, isn't it?
That's true. You mentioned playing retro video games badly. Does that inspire the scene in Uncharted 4 where Nathan is playing Crash Bandicoot badly? And also, which was your favorite Uncharted title to play? Like physically play or acting?
You know what? It didn't inspire that, but thinking about it, Crash Bandicoot is definitely one that we'll have to go back and we'll play. That scene was interesting because they actually just had to show footage and we were just pretending to play. But then after, we'd set that up and go. And I wasn't as bad as Nate was. Close second, but not as bad. And my favorite to play, and I've never played them all the way through. And if anybody's seen my kids, I have kids. and they play better than I do. And there's something very tragic about killing yourself over and over here, because it's me, it's how I run, it's how I walk and everything. And especially in Uncharted 3, I bought my kids headphones because throughout my house you'd hear, Nate, no! Ah! Nate! I went to a Best Buy, bought headphones, 2 pairs, brought them home to my kids and go, you wear that from now on. So then it just would be like, killed you, Dad. Sorry. You're dead again. So that, but when I did play, I really liked 2. The pacing of 2, I felt like every scene just tumbled onto the next one, and it was like there was a sense of urgency that you had to get to the next level. It was one of those like, I get to my drops and stay up later. I got to get through this level. But I loved them all. I mean, I did. It was the quick way I always talk about it is 2 was my favorite to play, 3 was my favorite to make, and it's only because 1 we had. It's like high school. Freshman year is the first one. Nobody knows you, but you have a decent year. And then imagine sophomore year, your second year comes out and you become the quarterback for the football team, homecoming king, you get straight A's, you date the prettiest girls. I mean, it just was the best. So by the time junior year comes along, you're just a big man on campus, it's gonna be great. And that's how 3 was. We got back, it's like getting the band back together. And I knew there would be a 4th. So by the time you get to the 4th one, then you're like, I gotta go to college or get a job now. This is it. So it was, but again, they're all my little kids.
Thank you.
Even young Vita.
Thank you. Up here.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi. Love your work. I'm a huge fan of your work on Young Justice. What I was curious about is how did you stay so intense for Superboy?
A lot of coffee. You know, when you have writing that good, and when Greg Weisman and Brandon Vietti and Greg, what they brought to the table with scripts. I mean, it's, you know, the Young Justice for the most part, and most animated series when allowable is in an ensemble. So everybody's usually there. So we're playing off each other, and you know, you're actually hearing the person say their line, and then you go. So when it came to, you know, staying intense, it's like reading a story. You ever been reading a book or reading an article and you feel your whole body kind of tense up? You gotta get, you know, you're like, whoa, that was a good chapter. I mean, in a movie when you watch it and all of a sudden you realize you're tensed up or you're feeling that. It's like that is evoking emotion. So when I'm reading a script, I'm not just sitting there just whatever, waiting for my line. I get into the story. And so, you know, and everybody's doing that. You know the situation, and everybody else has that intensity, and they're throwing it because the situation of the scene calls for that. It's easy because you're kids. You're playing. You're professional. You're playing professional make believe, and so to keeping up that kind of intensity is pretty easy. And then, you know, just of course, you know, his whole storyline, you know, with Superman was not really his dad, it's his clone, but he's treating him like that. The coolest thing was like going from Superboy, being that teenage voice, to Superman, which I can barely do right now because my father made me smoke a cigar last night. And I can't. Please don't. Let my agents know. Oh, you were smoking a cigar in Tampa? They roll them there. Half a cigar. I can't do it. I just can't do it.
So I don't know if you've seen the fan-made film of Uncharted with Nathan Fillion.
Yeah.
What'd you think of it? And other question was, how was doing video game for Deadpool?
Yeah. Oh, what's the second part?
Deadpool video game. How was doing all that?
Well, first of all, again, Nathan and I did a show called Con Man together, so I know him really well. And you know, he's been when we first started working together, he talked about Uncharted. He said, "Oh, I played all those games; it was amazing." And he's been like a super fan for a long time of the series. He's wanted to do something, and you know, the studio is going to go with Tom Holland. That's right now is the plan, and it's actually pretty brilliant. When you think about it, I'll explain that in a minute. But I thought Nathan's was fun. You know, he just, like he said in one of his posts, he just thanks for letting me scratch that itch. I just wanted to do that. What the studio is looking for with like a Tom Holland though is the reason video games have not translated into movies very well is because if you're playing Uncharted, you're Nathan Drake. I did the movements and the voice and all that stuff, that's great, but you are Nathan Drake when you're playing. And it's 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 hours of experience, times 4 if you played all 4 games. It is a personal experience, and now, if they make a movie and it looks like me, looks like Drake, at that age, and we're gonna pick it up, it takes that personal experience and turns it into a passive one. And you'd be watching going, it doesn't sound like him. He wouldn't say that there. I wouldn't go that way. But if you go back and play Uncharted 3 and you see the Colombian portions where Nate is a teenager, kind of looks like Tom Holland. So I think the theory, and I don't know for sure, but I think the theory is, let's show how Nate became the Nate we all play in Uncharted 1 and beyond. So call it a prequel, kind of, but it's like, how did he and Sully like meet, like for real? Was it just in Colombia, or are we going to do something a little different? Do we pick it up just probably after they met? What happened between Colombia and the first Uncharted? And I think it's brilliant, because now it doesn't quite, it's the same universe, it's the same thing we love, but it's an experience we haven't done, because he's the guy, but he's not the guy we know yet. So it's kind of an interesting concept to maybe, break buck that trend that where games don't translate into movies. And as far as your second question, Deadpool, it was sick. It's crazy. Deadpool's one of my favorite characters, just a voice. Drake because it was so much work, 10 years in a mocap suit. Deadpool because I got to say anything. and was able to make up anything. If anybody's played it, that whole thing where I call me, I suggested that in the session. They said, really? And I said all the foul, filthy things that I wanted to say. And it was great. I just hope Ryan Reynolds' movies keep doing so well that Activision says, we should do another game. But not with Ryan. And if we do another game, I'm going to insist that, Ryan Reynolds and I, we DM'd each other on Twitter, and so I'm a fan of his, he's a fan of what I've done. And if we did another game, I would absolutely call him in the next one. It'd be great, and have him do the same thing. Yeah, we get nothing.
That would be awesome. Okay. Hey, good afternoon.
Hey.
My name is Doug Cook. I'm currently a working voice actor, but my portfolio is limited to like promos and like local TV spots. What advice would you give to somebody who's trying to land bigger clients like Naughty Dog or Ubisoft, besides changing my name to Nolan?
Let's take it. You know what? If you're working, that's great. That's a foot in the door, and promos. Man, you can make some sick money in promos. I've never been able to break into promos. I have friends who've done it, and it can be really lucrative. But you're always on call. It's kind of tough. So, D. Bradley Baker started the best website I've ever seen called IWantToBeAVoiceActor.com, and every question that you could possibly ask about this part of the business is in there. Demo tapes, getting agencies. I find if you start doing your own work, if you know an animator, if you know anybody, you can start making your own thing. I mean, that's the way to go. I really don't know exactly how. I'm amazed. You have to understand, I drive home from work almost every day, and there's part of my brain is thinking there's going to be a moving truck. They've packed everything. My wife's crying. The kids are like, "What happened?" I'm like, "Oh, they found out." They found out. They're like, do I get to keep what I have? Yeah, you can keep the money, but you gotta go. And I'd move somewhere to the Midwest, probably just fade away. And because there's a very healthy dose of self-loathing that any actor worth his salt has, that you just deep down you're like, yeah, I gotta keep working hard because I might be crap. But I want to be a voiceactor.com. Steve Bloom has a great series on his website, and just keep plugging away. I've known people who've broken into that promo kind of stuff, and it's one job. I mean, over 500 people, I think, auditioned for Drake. Why? Why this? I mean, honestly, why this? And I'm not trying to be funny. It's like, I have no idea. It's just, don't ever get down on yourself. Think like, maybe I'm not good, or whatever. It's like, it's just sometimes, it's just a matter of, luck is a huge percentage in being a working actor. It really is. You know, you can say, well, talent keeps you there, whatever. Now, trust me, I know a lot of actors with no talent, and they're doing way better than me. They're like, wow, you stink, but you're really good at that one thing. Well, like, I'm not doing cocaine. So itchy, I'm just going to address it. Oh, thank you. Let me go in my shirt. That just happened. Sometimes it gets itchy, but I don't do that kind of stuff before noon. I don't. Anybody knows me. It's crazy.
Hey, Nolan, huge fan, obviously. Retro replays.
I don't get it.
Retro replays is like the best part of my Thursdays. I look forward to Thursdays.
Thank you. Thank you. Thursdays, people, Retro Replay, subscribe for free.
Yes. My mom told me to tell you she was a huge fan of you on Port Charles.
I'm so old.
Also, my question is, when you were doing Spec Ops a lot, did you know that game was going to be as intense as it turned out to be, and as bad as it turned out to be?
Yeah, man. It was, Walt Williams actually wrote a book called Permanent Zero, and it's about the development of that game, and I encourage anybody who's interested in gaming and how this stuff's made, anybody's ever played Spec Ops, grab the book. I think it's called Permanent Zero, Walt Williams, and it was, I was actually fortunate to be part of that from the time it's called just a vertical slice. Vertical slice is when somebody comes up with an idea for a game. Walt had come up with the idea for this game, and he brought it to, they said, yeah, okay, they'll pay for a vertical slice where you just show, you know, just a snippet, kind of like a movie trailer. And then they go, okay, yes, let's move forward with that or not. I was part of that. They had two other guys that were the other sidekicks. They got replaced for whatever reason. They wanted different sounds, and I was fortunate enough to keep my job, and it moved on to being something pretty intense. I remember we recorded that by saying we have 3 levels. It'd be like 1, 2, and 3. Like what level? You know, just was like, all right, we're moving up, and then as things got more, and he just until the end, he was just, welcome to Dubai. He's just saying he's just lost his mind. Yeah, it was pretty intense. The white phosphorus scene. Yeah. When I read that, I remember going, wow, this is really gonna happen? This is what you're doing? Then the scenes are like shoot the men or shoot the. It's like wow. Yeah. And I think from what I remember, it was inspired from Walt's family's military. I mean, I think it was his brother telling him. I may be wrong. I hope I'm not, but his brother or what his friend said. The only problem with these games is they have choices when you do these adventures, like the choice A or B. You know, pick the right one or the wrong one. Sometimes as a soldier, they both, you have to pick one, but they're both terrible choices. And he said soldiers face that every day. He said it might be nice for a game to remind people of that. It's not like they want to do one thing or the other, but they have to. So what? That's why I don't meet a lot of people who play it twice. They're like, they love it. I can't. It's just intense. Yeah. So yeah, it was a really cool. It's one of those things. Like I guess if you were a film actor, that's one of those cult hits that you're really proud of. Didn't get a lot of critical acclaim, but
I tell everyone to play it if they can.
Yeah, it's pretty intense, but it's pretty cool. Yeah. And it was one of the first ones where I was like I played as a kid. I used to run around the backyard playing Marine or something with my friends, and I'd get the stick. Maybe, if you didn't, if Todd hadn't broken my M14 that I got when I was 9. So,
thank you.
You bet.
Thank you. Hey, Nolan. Hey. I'll be quick with 2 questions. One, out of all the Uncharted lines that you said, what's the one line that stands out the most to you?
Kitty got wet.
All right. I thought it was going to be the buildings. We were in that.
We were in that and when he looks up and he sees that thing, he says, let me guess, we have to climb this shit. No, I'm so sick of climbing shit.
And is there ever a role that you got denied and you look back on it and go, man, I did that so much better than that person?
Denied?
Earlier, before you became the...
No, you know, it's actually an interesting question. The great thing about it is people ask me that question, or like what role that I didn't do what I like to do, and it's not like that. You know, I can't imagine doing Wolverine better than Steve Blum. I would be doing a Steve Blum impression. We're fans of each other. So, like, I would never sit there and go, oh, I would have done better than him. Because that became that guy. I'm a fan of what I do and the people I work with. So, like, you know, I mean, could I have played Joel? Yeah. Better than Troy? Probably not. You know, especially when you watch it, you go, wow, that was really good. You know, I think that's the good thing about this business, this part of the business, is where you really enjoy other people's performances, and you can learn from them, grow from them. And no, so I'm proud to say I really don't covet other roles, and maybe that's because I've been really fortunate to do a lot of different things. But I love to go, like, especially in the animation world. You know, I get in there with somebody like Rob Paulson. You know, you get in Eric Bauza, genius, Kevin Michael Richardson. You know, we're sitting there doing a show together, and they're doing some voices that I can't do. And I love cartoons. I love that stuff. So to get in there with them, I'm more of a fan than anything. When I did Transformers Prime, I remember saying Smokescreen's line to Optimus Prime, and I'm like, Optimus, what are we gonna do? And you just kind of look over, and about 10 feet away is Peter Cullen, and he goes, Autobots, roll out. And I got goosebumps. I get goosebumps telling the story. I'm like, oh. Peter Cullen, Frank Welker, and then Frank Welker walking over to me and going, hey, Smoke, you want to go play golf tomorrow? Yes, I want to do that. It's the coolest. My heroes have become peers, but they'll never stop being my heroes. And then you meet younger guys. Like, if anybody doesn't know who Eric Bauza is, do yourself a favor. He's amazing. And it's like, these people are celebrated. Kari Wahlgren. I mean, Kari Wahlgren and I did The Prince of Persia and together. And it was one of the first games, actually, early on, but that they actually put us in the booth together. I was saying about Kristen Bell, but this was, I think, before that. And she's amazing. You watch Kari Wahlgren, look at her IMDb. I mean, it's so much fun to watch people. And now that I'm getting older, you see the younger generation coming in. And Paulson and I talked about it. He said, I remember when you were coming up with Freddie and everybody, and now you're going to see those guys. And I said, what makes me happy is you're still working. He goes, damn right. I'm like, all right, so I got a lot of years left. I'm not quitting yet.
I'll just start doing more and more older roles. Here's a guy who smokes cigars with his father.
Luke?
Yes, do you have a favorite role of what character you played, and can you remember all the characters you ever voiced or played?
Can I remember all the characters? No. No, I have people come up to me at cons and say, hey, can you do this voice from this? I'm like, I have no idea what that was. Look it up and play it, I'll repeat it. But, what was my favorite role? It's got to be Drake, just because it's me, and to work, basically a camera job, to be the lead of a series where my input mattered. I mean, by 2, 3, and 4, I helped cast. So I got to sit on this side of the casting table, we'd read a scene and then sit down and go, what do you think? And it was amazing. It was the best lesson I ever learned as an actor, because when you help cast something, I had friends of mine come in to read for roles on Uncharted, and it was amazing. Everybody was good. Everybody's good. So if you're an actor and you worry about like, I didn't get that audition, don't ever feel like you weren't good enough. It's just somebody else was more right. And that's not lip service. It's literally, you go, wow, we just cast all those people, but that dude was perfect. He's the one. Claudia Black, reading for Chloe. we had a couple people in mind, and we're kind of going back and forth, and she came in, sorry, late from the airport, and just and her hair, and she's like, okay, so what are we doing? And you're going, oh my God, this is amazing. She's full of personality. And then she just, and the lines came out, and she's nailed it. I'm like, yeah, that's Chloe. It wasn't even close. And everybody else was really good, but there was something about her that screamed that part. So that's how it worked. And Steve, I was Uncharted 2, I guess. Steve Valentine is Flynn, same way. It's just, so remember that. And not that you're, oh, I'm terrible. Somebody else was more right.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
Hello.
Hey.
I would like to thank you for more than 10 years of amazing games. I've played them pretty much half my life, you know. And
thanks, man.
I have a quick 2 questions. The first question's really quick. It's what do you really think of Lost Legacy? Because you're always sarcastic about it.
Oh, I joke about it. Because I'm like, Lost Legacy, what's that? Yeah. No, listen, I think anything for the fandom to have to play is great. I haven't seen it, just because I'm always going to the next project. People say, what's your favorite project? I'm like, the next one. You know, but yeah, you know what, and I love Laura, I love Claudia, so I'm glad. They retired me. I didn't know they were going to do another one.
Alright, and I just wanted to know, what was it going through your head? How did you get through the cycle you played David in Last of Us? Because it was really...
I killed 8 people. Preferably young girls. No, it just, you know, the thing about that is people say, oh, what was it, how'd you get into that? It's like, stay with me on this one, ready? He's not a bad guy. If he walked in here right now, yeah, sit on him, call the police, get him out of here. But we don't, you know, in that apocalyptic society, and we don't know what's going on. He's the shepherd of the flock. He's trying to take care of his people. And I wanted to play him just as kind as possible, just kind of a David Strathairn type of soft-spoken, very measured voice. And when that voice is, if that's somebody in another circumstance, let's say that's a professor in another game or movie, you know, just like, okay, just open your textbooks up to page 47, we'll start today. Now, tiny little pieces, Ellie. Tiny, it just becomes, oh, that's so creepy. So it's, but you have to, anytime you play a bad guy, anytime you play a character like that, you have to find, like a character that's like, oh, that guy's such an ass. An ass doesn't think he's an ass, a jerk doesn't think he's a jerk, a psycho doesn't think he's a psycho. You don't play the problem. A drunk, people always make the mistake when they, in anything, playing drunk, like, oh, it's just what do drunks do? Try to maintain sobriety, says. Good. I'm good, right? It's just, you know what I mean? I'm good. No, it's not cool, man, cool. Everything's good. Oh, good. That's a drunk. And you're like, that guy's hammered. So David, with that, there wasn't anything really to define. It was like, just play what his goal is. Yeah. Why is he eating people? Of course, then I tell people, say, no, he had to eat people because there's no food. They go, he killed a deer at the beginning of the scene. Like, you got me there.
Thank you so much.
You bet. Thank you.
What would you say your top 10 roles that you've played?
My top 10? Top 3? Top 3. That I played? Oh, I don't know. You tell me. I don't play my games. I play other people's games. I don't know. I like Richtofen. I like Penguin, Arkham. Oh, sorry. Oh no, the Penguin. That's what I'm offering. I like Dr. Richtofen because that is also wunderbar. Because it's fun. And Deadpool. Because he does this, and he does this. Let's get a cheeseburger. I want a steak. How about pizza? And he just talks to each other. Lost his mind. Sigmund, Ratchet and Clank, I enjoy. You know, and then those are just in games. I mean, Blaze and the Monster Machines for people who have little kids. I do Blaze. People don't even know that, but that's like one of the educational show. You know, come on, count with me. It's like it's the most fun I've had. And I just wish my teenage boys had that because they can't even do math. Dora and Boots did not teach friction and trajectory. Passengers. Hey. Let's get a little closer to the mic.
Sorry. When you voice acted for Edward talking, what was going through your head as the story continued from what to talk on straight?
A lot of times with that stuff, the storyline is so convoluted and crazy, I couldn't keep up with it. So it would be just stay on the page and just, but it's just, you know, zaniness, especially the lines with like, it's a dead monkey, I hate some monkeys. Those crazy, not the band, those monkeys. The little ones that go clink clink and then they are gone. But it was just, we've done it for a long time and it's a lot of fun. Absolutely, it's a blast.
Thank you.
You bet.
Thanks.
Yes?
Absolute honor being in the same room as you, dude. People keep stealing my questions, so I gotta continue.
Improvise, man,
yeah,
improvise.
Your inspiration for Edward Bricktop?
God, you know, I mean, I grew up watching things like Hogan's Heroes. You guys are too young. I mean, these old shows. There's two famous painters. And I don't remember his name, but you know, Bob Ross and that kind of painting. But then there was another guy who was down to an almighty mountain. I can't remember his name. If anybody knows, shout it out. But he'd get up in the PBS and he'd go, I'm going to beat the canvas. And you're like, you know, and then every World War II movie, you know, you'd always see that, look, do you all have your papers? They had a cigarette between these things. They cover the face. It just, I don't know, you just kind of, and you watch these great characters. You know? It's just amazing how talk. And I always, you know, anything. I mean, if you've ever heard a silly British accent or some kind of accent, you play along, just play with it. It was just sort of, and then when Richtofen came along, when he started out, he was zany. And then he got more and more serious, and it had to become a little more dire. The situation with Maxis has turned. When before it was like, this is good, I want to shoot so hard, little Flora, come to me. So it's crazy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, it's one of my favorites. Thank you.
Anything you can tell us about this is season 3 or DC streaming service, preferably a super one?
I can't tell you anything except I'm back. We've shot, I think, we recorded 20 episodes. They are now in post-production, putting it together. And we're just waiting for it to come out. I don't know when that will be. I know it's going to be on the DC streaming service. And I hope the fans like it as much as they like season 1 and 2, because it was the fans who helped bring that back. And I appreciate that for the job.
Thank you very much.
You bet.
And don't ever come up here, women, and talk in the copper pot.
Oh, what, ladies and gentlemen, Tom Holland. The young Drake. Oh, hold on.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you, Robin, for stealing my question. Hi, Connor.
Quick, think of a good one. Hold that thought. Let's go to Drake, who had a question ready. I'm going to give you time.
Have you ever seen Monty Python the Holy Grail?
Aren't you sweet? Do you want me to quote any line from any scene? That rabbit is fantastic! Run away!
Here's Mother Scratch.
Oh my God, yes, I have seen it. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. I grew up watching British television. My dad loved BBC TV before there was cable. We actually got it. It was really bad. You don't get it, man. You understand? I was the remote control. Like my dad was like, Channel 4. Bunny ears. You don't even know what I'm talking about. Tinfoil on antennas to get some kind of signal. Oh no, it's in color now. We didn't have a lot of money. We were late to that. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. And have you ever seen the series, the silly little skits they've done? No. Oh, you gotta go watch that. It's all on Netflix, it's all somewhere. You can find it on your phone, probably. So did you have a question about it? Yeah, not only me I've seen it. It's absolutely wonderful. It's a witch burn! Oh, you're kidding? It's great. What's your favorite scene?
I cut your bloody arm off.
Which one?
I cut your bloody arm off.
Oh yeah. I'll have your leg! Come back here! Fight your arms off, you silly bastard! I want to do a John Cleese as much as possible. I'm like, no singing. I just want to sing. And then they, boom. Message for you, son. Oh, we can go all day with you. All day on that one.
Unfortunately, this is going to have to be our last question. You got one?
Yes. Sorry, it's not as insightful as most of the other questions, but...
Well, why would you set it up with that? Don't set us up with disappointment. Just keep your mouth shut and ask a question. You don't set it up. You know, now you've just set up expectations for failure. And now we have to lift it back up. Hey, I bet you have the great question. Go.
What did you think of Infinity War? Did you see it?
Wait, with Thanos? The whole thing, wait. The latest Avengers? If I wanted to pay to take my whole family for a 2.5-hour commercial for the next movie, I'd appreciate you let me know. What? I mean, I was just like, what? That's me. What? It's like, roll credits. I'm like, no, what? That's how we're ending. No. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the movie until it's like my favorite now is, I think Avengers movie is between the original Iron Man and Black Panther. Because those just, I mean, those I want to go play Black Panther now. I mean, I want to run around my yard. I mean, Iron Man, you know what I'm saying? I love the movie, but and I thought great performances. I thought there was just, like, did you know that everybody was in it? Everybody in Hollywood was in that movie. Everybody was in the movie. I just kind of got lost, and I don't know who am I rooting for again, and why this, and why does Peter Quill have to be that stupid? Why is he the one? Why? The guy without any powers except a cassette radio.
And that's
I don't know. Now it just makes me. It's like. Turn that off. Yeah, there's two things that tick me off in Hollywood. It's the Avengers doing that, and Game of Thrones going, we're going to let you wait a few years for the next season. Because I caught up with it. My wife and I watched the whole thing. We binged it in like 2 months. We're like, oh, this is great. And it's like, what do you mean next season's not till, maybe 2019. So, what did I think of? I'm fired up. Anybody else fired up?
I was still mourning the ending.
Yeah, everybody turned to ash, I don't know. And then my son came home from Ant-Man and Wasp and goes, I think I got it. So he's in the dimension he didn't turn into dust. He's in that altered dimension that's between dimensions of purgatory. I don't know what he meant. You got it. So I don't know if is Paul Rudd's going to come back and defeat Thanos. I don't know what's going to happen.
I mean, they mentioned time vortexes, and there's theories for Avengers 4 involving time travel, so...
Are we out of time?
Yeah, we're out of time. We're out of time.
In the words of Jean-Claude Van Damme,
see ya.
There's never enough time.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Nolan North.